Hi Baz, how are you?
Hey Rohit, how are you?
Baz, I'm such a fan of your films. I thoroughly enjoyed Elvis. Big congratulations to you.
Thank you so much, Rohit.
Right. Baz, when you start, I'll take you back. When you started the project, why did you think it was important to show it also from his manager's perspective and not just an Elvis story?
You know, Rohit, I think of my dear friend Amitabh Bachchan. And Amitabh, as you know, in my view, is not only the Elvis of India, but also the Marlon Brando of India. And
Right.
I think that Amitabh would understand that behind every great star, there is always this issue of the business and the show,
Right.
the art and the commerce. And when I think about that, it doesn't matter whether it's the entertainment world in India or here in America or anywhere. This relationship can be very, very good. But
Right.
when that relationship gets unbalanced, right, it can be destructive, you know? When it's
Right.
only about the money, it can be destructive.
Right.
And, you know, I think that's what happens in this journey. So you see in this story an amazing rise of stardom, but then you see the relationship perhaps bring it to a tragic conclusion for both of them. Now, that's almost like the plot of one of the great Indian films, you know, whether it's
Right.
Sajid Ray or whatever it's been made, you know, or one of Amitabh's great pieces, you
Right.
know?
Right.
And it's almost like you can't believe. When I started looking into this, I couldn't believe that the story of Elvis and the Colonel, it's Shakespearean, you know?
Wow.
In 42
Right.
years, if you were trying to write just an amazing, made-up story, you couldn't
Right.
make it up because, of course, there's a big twist of the character of Colonel Tom Parker, played by Tom Hanks. Boom, boom, boom. You know, it's a great plot twist. So it's
Right.
just a great story.
Right. How did Tom and Austin have this amazing chemistry? Did you make sure they spend time and have this rapport? How does that work? This magic.
Exactly what you said. You cannot make that up. You cannot force it to happen. It's like a relationship. You might set up a nice date. You might make sure the food is great. You might make sure that the couple spend time together. You might lay the table, but you cannot make them connect. You have to make sure that you're very lucky. Because if they don't, you could probably still do it, but it isn't going to be the kind of magic that we
Right.
see on screen between this young, new, true star and easily the Amitabh Bachchan of America. And I keep talking about Amitabh, but I miss him so much, and I know the family's gone through so much, and I've heard from him not too long ago, and I think about him, and I think about Tom. I mean, they are so very similar. Like the same way that Amitabh would bring not just his performance to the set, but also the energy, the inspiration, and the wisdom. I saw that on Gatsby. He brought wisdom
Right.
to the set. I remember seeing a moment between he and Leonardo, and there was a quiet chat. And I knew that Leonardo felt that he was listening to wisdom. And Tom
Wow.
absolutely did that with Austin. Absolutely did that. It's so touching. It so rarely happens when an older actor is passing the baton onto the new generation.
Right. Thank you. This was like listening to wisdom right here. Thank you, and couldn't agree with every word that you said. Thank you for entertaining us.
You take care, Rohit.
Thank you.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Austin, very well. Firstly, big fan of your performance. What a terrific role, and so well done. Big congratulations to you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Austin, when something like that comes to you, how do you balance this is a huge responsibility to your creative inputs? How does this work?
For me, the responsibility ended up becoming energy. It ended up becoming so the pressure is so great that it would wake me up every day at 3 or 4 in the morning. And that's the type of thing where it feels like it can paralyze you. But once I was able to adjust my way of thinking about it and realize this isn't going to go away. This responsibility and the pressure is going to be there the whole time. So what I can do with that is I'll just start working at 4 in the morning. And so that was the way that I approached it.
Amazing. One responsibility was to the family, fans, and another thing was you will always be known as the actor who played Elvis. It's a huge. Did you think did these pressures cross your mind?
I hadn't really thought about that one. I guess that's true. I guess I'll just have to go out there and do things that are very different afterwards.
Right. And what is that? You played Elvis. We've watched it. You know him so much more than we do. What is the one thing that will always stay with you now that you move on to other films?
The one thing is my relationship to fear, because I felt more fear than I had ever experienced before, just with that amount of responsibility and the feeling of it's this fear of letting Baz down, of letting Elvis's family down, of letting Elvis down, his legacy, of all the fans that love him around the world. There's so much pressure that I felt that I didn't want to fail all of them. And I wanted to really do him justice. So I had a lot of fear that's involved in that, because the fear of failing, really. But yet, I created this new relationship with it in a way, because I felt it so many times. I woke up with it so many days, and I felt it for so much of the time that it really changed the way that I felt about it. Because before, if I felt fear, I may kind of shy away from something. But now I realize that perhaps fear is something we should use as a compass towards where our soul is calling us,
Right. Austin, very well done. We are all so very proud of you. Thank you for entertaining us.
So much. Thank you.
Hello,
hey,
how
Olivia.
are you?
Very well. Terrific performance. Absolutely brilliant. Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm glad you liked the movie.
I love the movie. Olivia, your character I particularly thought had huge responsibility, because this person is living, and you have met her. What was on your mind, when you signed this on? To make sure that she likes it?
Oh, absolutely. First and foremost, I was like, I know this woman's going to see the film. I know she's going to watch me portraying her. I wanted to feel like I was in good hands, and I felt like I was, I think through my early conversations with Baz, I felt like he really, really, really cared about this story and really cared about his legacy. And so to step into that world with somebody and a group of people too, that was so adamantly sort of committed to the narrative. It was, very exciting.
Right. What was your research material like? Did you meet her before? Did you all chat before shooting?
I mean, no, not while we were shooting. It didn't really work out that way with COVID and everything else. But we did get to touch base afterwards, which was, nerve-wracking, but at the same time, very exciting and very rewarding.
Right. What will stay with you about Priscilla's life? Now that the film is over, you all will move on to different projects. What is it, that one thing that will stay with you about her?
I mean, I think on a project like this, we were on it for so long, and I think in my life there'll always be a, before I shot this movie and the after I shot this film, and I think I stepped away from this experience with a whole new appreciation for fashion, style. I think I walked away with a whole new appreciation as well for, strength and softness and strength in femininity. And I think that was a huge sort of life lesson that I took away from the whole experience.
Right, and as a woman, how do you see this other woman? Do you think she had it tough? Do you think she handled things well? What goes on your mind when you think of her as another woman who saw so much?
I think that she had a deep, deep capacity and a large, large well of love within her that she was able to sort of give and give and give. And I think that's a beautiful lesson, a beautiful life lesson. I think that, I think she did. She had it tough in some regards, to be in love with an impossible man in an impossible situation. It's, I can imagine that would be so incredibly hard, but the friendship that they had well after their divorce was something that I always admired, and hope I can carry that sort of respect into my everyday life.
Right. Lastly, what is Baz like, on the set? Is he? This is also a serious film, and you all want to have fun. What is he like as a director?
I mean, he's a mad genius, that man, He's sort of, he has a microphone. He, when we're on set, he can be he's very curious, he's very open. He creates a circus, on these sets. But he really attracts very, very sort of hard workers, I guess. So the standard is very high amongst the madness and amongst the pleasure and the fun of it all. And it was. We had a lot of fun making this movie, and I think you can feel that on the screen.
Right, Olivia, it was a pleasure watching you in it, and it was a pleasure interviewing you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time.
Hi.
Hi, Austin.
How
are you guys?
Really good.
I'm good too. Thank you so much. Thoroughly enjoyed your movie. All of you all have done such a terrific job. Firstly, big congratulations to all of you.
Thank you so much.
Right, when now that the film is on the verge of the release in many countries, we all will move on. One thing I want to ask both of you is that what is it about your character that will always stay with you wherever you go? Yola, you can go first.
I feel like what stays with me is her sense of making a space for people to be comfortable. So that scene when Elvis comes back to Club Handy, because he needs to reabsorb the reason why he started doing music in the first place. He's starting to get this sense that he's being pulled away from his authentic self and how he grew up, which was in the black community, as you'll see, that he wants to get back to that. And what Sister Rosetta Tharpe has done in that night at Club Handy, she is showcasing Little Richard, and she's creating this space for people to be able to be free. So when you see Little Richard's rich, his shirt open, and give it all of that sexy, it's the 50s. You have to realize how rebellious that is, even in today's society, to be that kind of sexy as a guy. That's still a thing, that we do, that we leverage. But in the 50s, are you kidding me? Unheard of. Unheard of. And so, it's that's my role. My role is to create that space that everyone that needs to be spiritually fed, to be really able to turn it up, can turn it up,
Right. What a great answer. What about you, Alton? Your character, that's something that will stay with you.
Yeah. Something that will stay with me is always just the spirit, the power, that fire, the intention behind why he would feel so liberated on stage after dealing with segregation and religion and sexuality outside of the club and outside of the stage. That feeling feels so awesome. It feels so rewarding. And Sister Rosetta Tharpe actually discovered Little Richard. And the fact that she's making a space for young artists to feel that way and to be expressive, it's a dream, and we need people like that in our lives, especially the young people who are still navigating that feeling and navigating why they feel that way. in the scene, like she said, Elvis comes back to Club Handy, to Bill Street, because he's missing it on the other side. So it's a feeling that he's running out of, that he needs to get re-familiar with. And he comes back to the club, and I'm performing, and B.B. King says, hey, now see, you could do what he's doing, but you would make a lot more money off of it. So it's also me analyzing the show business and the right, not the right and wrong, but the other side of the authentic feeling when it becomes, you know, money and a product. So I'll always keep that with me, for sure. For sure.
Amazing. You both were amazing in the film. Thank you for entertaining us.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Hi, Kevin. Great to see you.
Great to see you too. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Very happy, especially after watching such a brilliant film. So great teamwork to all of you.
Thanks.
Kevin, do you want to tell the viewers what was your character's friendship with Elvis like? What was B.B. King, and what was this bond like?
Yeah, I mean, listen, they were fellow artists, so they're just kind of guys that were trying to figure out how to navigate their business, but also stay true to their craft and just how to have a good time. You know, they had a lot in common. BB lost his mom at a very early age, and Elvis obviously lost his mother at a very early age. So I think they had a mutual understanding about what it was like to become a man at the time and to be in this industry where everyone's like looking for you, and there's women everywhere and there's money. You know, it's a crazy lifestyle. So they just wanted to support each other and just be there. Yeah.
Is it difficult to be in those positions that they were in with so much responsibility and all this glamour around them? It's tough to handle that?
I mean, I could imagine. I mean, listen, I'm no Elvis or B.B. King, so I have no clue what that's like. But I will say, from looking at it from the outside, I wouldn't know what to do in those situations. I think they handled it rather well, if you think about it, you know? And the biggest thing is it's just being authentic to yourself. I think why we loved them both is because they were so true to who they were as artists and what they were interested in. And you can never fail when you do that.
Right, Kevin, what was your research material like? What all did you look up? Where all did you search to play this character?
I just went to YouTube. I'm so glad I have YouTube. And so I just looked up every interview possible, and I listened to the music, and I watched the documentaries. You know, you just spend time with it. And then Baz sent me a guitar when I was in quarantine, and he was like, "Yeah, Lucille's outside your door." It wasn't a real Lucille, but yeah, I just started playing around with it and getting connected to him.
Right. Lastly, you know, now that this film is over, you all will move on. What is the one thing about shooting and filming this movie that will stay with you forever?
My time hanging out with Austin. Honestly, that was my favorite part. Was just like, I think it was what the beautiful thing about making movies is you make some friendships that you feel like will last forever. And I think what was really cool about that time was that he was in a really specific moment in his life playing Elvis Presley, and I got to come there and just hang out with him and be friends, and I get to play B.B. King, and you know, it kind of life mirrors the movies in some ways, where we just support each other as we navigate our careers as young actors. And so I'm really grateful for that friendship.
Great. You know, you were terrific as B.B. King, and thank you for entertaining us.
Thank you. I'm glad you were entertained.